Hey guys, Holly here. I wanted to apologize because this particular episode was recorded many months ago, but we held off on posting it. So it may seem a little off on our timeline if you're listening to our shows in order. So I do apologize that, but other than that, enjoy the show.
Good morning and welcome to the Legit Real Estate Podcast. I am TJ Chofi. I'm here this morning with Holly Regoli. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning.
You look lovely as always, except I'm trying not to make eye contact with you because I'm doing about 80 miles an hour right now.
You're driving while you're doing a Zoom. Please don't get in an accident.
I won't. And I'm close to my destination. I was supposed to be with you today, but my meeting got moved from one of our offices to another. So, I mean, this is what it is. And it's not my car that I'm driving. I have a rental, and I'm going to tell you that story in a minute. But excuse my seatbelt because I don't usually like to wear a seatbelt, but this car beats like an animal if you don't wear the seatbelt. It's out of control.
You are supposed to wear a seatbelt all the time.
I don't wear a seatbelt for my safety. I believe seatbelt laws are dangerous.
So what are you teaching your children then?
I'm teaching them not to wear their seatbelts.
Okay. So I had a friend who went through a windshield or I forget what happened. He got into an accident when he was younger. Had he been stuck in the car would have caught on fire or whatever. So he was able to he lived. But then I went to the doctors when I was in like 7th grade and they gave me this whole lecture on seatbelts and scared the shit out of me. And so I have always been wearing my seatbelt and my kids always wear their seatbelt. It is just inherent. So why do you not wear your seatbelt?
Because I feel like in case of an accident, I would choke. And I have this thing about anything near my neck. I have like a phobia of things near my neck. So I know that some people are into some weird stuff with the neck. I'm not into the neck.
Okay. I would suggest you look up statistics and figure out which statistics are better. Getting the chances of getting choked or the chances of going through a windshield and getting
we're recording this in 2025. So I don't know if you remember way back in 2020 when there were some statistics. I don't think I believed any statistics from anyone ever again. Will I ever believe a statistic? If you recall.
I do recall. I know what you're talking.
So me, I'm all set with their statistics. I just much rather, but I'll tell you, when you wear it, which I generally don't, it kind of feels kind of like comfortable when it like locks in. I don't know. And this is not my car. So this car is just all weird. It beeps for everything. Like if you switch lanes on the highway without a blinker, it not only does it beep, it tries to drag you back into your lane.
Oh, you can shut that off. My car has that feature. It's the one that has the steering wheel with 2 lines on the side of it. It looks like a steering wheel with 2 lines. And I shut that off because it pulls me around. Apparently, I guess I drive over the line all the time. So,
well, of course, in Rhode Island, there's road construction everywhere. So I'm on Smith Street the other day and it's 1 lane and I'm trying to it's not 1 lane, it's 2 lanes, but they narrowed it because they're working on the sidewalk or whatever. So I have to go into the other lane or else I'm going to run into a backhoe and some cones. And the damn car is trying to pull me into the construction. And I'm like, no, I'm really doing the right thing right now. And
yeah, no, I have to shut that off. That drives me crazy. I noticed you were wearing a hoodie. I as well as wearing a hoodie because today the temperature dropped. How many degrees from yesterday? Like 30?
My goodness, it was like 34 this morning and it's 49 now. And yesterday was like summer.
Yep. This is good old New England weather. I love it though.
All right. So, yeah. And the leaves are starting to turn. I'm in a beautiful part of our state right now, Smithfield, and everything started to turn. It's great. Well, anyway, I'm safe now. So let me tell you how I ended up in this car, which has nothing to do with legit real estate. But let me tell you how I ended up. I went for an oil change, and I don't go to Jiffy Lube. I go to my mechanic for an oil change. And Jiffy Lube, they go under the car, right, and they drain the oil, and then they do whatever they do. My mechanic lifts the car when he does the oil change, and thank God he did, because apparently my back of my car was snapped off where it belongs and it was smashing up against the gas tank. So,
oh, jeez.
So he's like, I was like, all right, let me just drive it home and I'll call AAA. He's like, no, I've known this guy for 10 years. He would never lie to me. He goes, you can't drive this home. You don't understand. Your gas tank's about to explode. It was all worn.
Oh.
So it must have been banging for months. And it's like, it was all worn. So right now my car's at the dealership and they have to like replace my gas tank because it's just not safe. My kid's car seat is right under that part of the car. Like his booster seat is right there and it's right under the gas tank. Like that could have been real bad.
New fear unlocked. My last car, one of my last cars I had to get rid of, when I went to the mechanic, they were like, your something drive shaft is rubbing against the gas tank. They wouldn't let me drive that one home either. And I'm like, I had been driving around with that thing for months and I had no idea.
No
Like
idea.
that is scary. That is very scary. Oh my God.
It was covered under warranty, but you know, when they get you, once you're in there, they're like, oh, you also need X, Y, and Z, and it's going to be about $900. Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
You know what else is scary? You know what else is really scary? My son started driving yesterday.
Oh no.
I am that old. I am
Oh,
that old.
no.
But we got his permit and he was terrified because we were in Cranston. So you have to I'm not gonna have him drive on the highway right away for the first time. I was like, oh, we'll drive in a parking lot or something. But what I did is I got a good chunk of the way home, and our church is about 15 minutes from our house, and it's all like it's back roads, but it's not. So it's like Route 6, like Danielson Pike or 101, which are both major. Like there's accidents on those roads all the time because people fly down them.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, we'll go on there. They're pretty straightforward. But he was so nervous, like taking the left-hand turn. Like, so I had him drive around the parking lot a little bit first. And then he went to go pull out of the parking lot and he looks left, doesn't bother looking right. I'm like, no. So look. Oh my God. I am paranoid to be in a car with people to begin with driving. I freak out with lack of control on stuff. Trying to drive with someone, and then I'm talking to him on our street, on one of our, when we get into the area that I live, it's all back roads. So there's no line down the middle of the road. So,
Right.
but then when you get on my street, there's like big ditches on the side because they dig them out so that water can go into the ditches. So I told
Yeah.
him, I said, you need to stay more towards the middle of the road. And if a car comes, even if you have to stop, it's okay. And he's like, Mom, don't talk to me. I can't listen to you right now. I'm focusing so much. He's like, I'm not hearing a word you're saying, so stop talking. And I'm like, if you're not listening to me while you're driving, this is not going to work. He's like, I can't hear you right now. I'm like, I'm sitting on the side of you, but I can't hear you because I'm focusing. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, the bright side, in about 10 years, he'll be doing podcasts while he drives on the highway because you just learn. You just figure it out.
I don't think I've resorted to actually doing the podcast while driving. I think I've always at least pulled over.
Knowing how
Oh
this
my
kid
goodness.
runs, when this broadcast, somebody's going to send me I'm going to get a ticket in the mail. That's
That, yeah. And you deserve it.
you
You
know
would
what?
deserve it.
Your roads down there, they're probably more challenging for a new driver, even though no one's on them because they're just different. They're like country roads. Like if someone's coming, you need to like you have to like trust the person that's coming towards you. There's no lines.
Mm-mm.
There's no like sidewalk. Like you're either on the road or you're in the woods.
I literally on my road, because I said the ditches on the side are so deep, I literally I stop. I just realized. Yeah, I literally stop and let the big trucks go by because there's no point in trying to like squeeze by them or getting into an accident.
And I'm sure they appreciate it too. I'm sure they do because they don't want to deal with it either, especially if they have heavy load. Does that ever hurt you when you're selling properties up there? Do people say like these roads I can't?
No,
No,
no. When people are moving to the country, they want to be in the country. If I
that's
give me a dirt road, if they've got one, like, give me like, less traffic, less, people move out there for a reason.
Situate, but deep into Situate, like almost like not Situate. And we went. I think it was the second showing was at night, and then they realized there were no streetlights to like get back into like civilization. And the wife was like had some concerns. I thought they were going to back out because she was. I don't know if I could do these roads. I can't see anything. I don't like my high beams. I'm going to have my high beams on, and she was bitching and moaning the whole time. And I'm like,
Oh,
well,
wow.
I mean, you're an adult. Like, I mean, I think you can figure it out. I mean, you can't say that to somebody, but like, man up.
Some people get nervous about that, and it's not for everyone. I'll tell you that. It's definitely not for everyone.
I would be more nervous, I think, about the dark. Like you guys, when it's dark out there, it's darker for you than it is for us. Like we have like light pollution. There's always lights on in Johnston. Like there's businesses open, there's street lights on, there's cars driving always. Like even though my property is fenced off, um, there's still a street. I can still see the street lights from like the next street, you know. But where you are, it's just black. Did you freeze? You
What
froze.
happened? It froze. Yeah, you're back now.
Oh, I was just saying how scared shit I would be in your area because it's so dark.
Yeah. So last week there was one night we had a couple trees taken down, and so we had all the tops of the trees that we had to burn. I did it. I got them taken down the least expensive way possible. A friend. And so we didn't have like a wood chipper or anything come. So we've just been burning and burning, and we finally burned all the tops of the trees and stuff. But I was sitting out by the fire one night last week, and I'm just sitting there, and I start hearing like noises around me, and I'm like, I know they're probably just a small animal or something, but I still don't want to stick around and see. Like, I drove into my driveway, I think last week, and there was a raccoon under my husband's car, and he like ran out. And I was like, I don't normally see raccoons, but I heard I woke up in the middle of the night the other night, and then I told my husband, I said, I either just heard a fisher cat or a mountain lion. He started laughing. He's like, yeah, mountain lion. I'm like, I don't know. It sounded pretty like weird. I
I
think it
I
was a fisher cat though.
I don't know that we have many lions roaming the neighborhoods of Rhode Island. I don't know if we have any
We
mountain.
don't have many, but I've heard people see them. So I don't
Rac-
know. I'm not going to say we don't.
Raccoons are wicked big. Like you don't
They
realize how
are.
big they are. They're extra big.
They are. So on a note, like a real estate note, and I know we've banged this, like talked about this, but I seriously have such a major problem with solar, and it is killing me. I am going to do PSAs all over the place. All right. So that house that I finally got that house on the market with the solar. Okay. Finally got that house. We've been working on, we were supposed to put it on the market in July, then August, then September. And then I was like, listen, we're running out of time. We got to get this on the house. I had an open house last Saturday. Not one person showed up.
Oh man.
It went on the market last Friday. It's been almost a week. I have not gotten one person asking me to see this property. I'm like, okay, so we're trying, but it's such a tight timeline for my client because of the situation that they're in. I'm like, and they need to take as much money out of the house as possible. So I'm deadlocked. I talked to the attorney yesterday that's handling things for my client. He's like, the only way we're going to get her out of this contract is to sue. He's like, we don't have the time for that, nor the resources. So like I used AI to try to find ways to get out of the contract, and I sent it over to her, and I said, you know what, like I can't give you legal advice. I said, but AI said this is what you can do to try to get out of the contract. We don't really have a lot of time for this, but she's like, I'm gonna just go take the panels off the roof myself. I was like, it doesn't matter if you do or not. Your contract says that there's panels on your house, so we can't like sell the house and say, oh yeah, no, we're not aware of any issues or
You know,
any claims.
there's no liens on the property until they run the title search. It'll come up.
Well, we have rent it. There are no liens.
Really?
There's no lien right now. However, these solar companies are horrible. So I did discover that the guy that sold me my solar and screwed me, which it's not as bad of a situation because I'm in a situation where once I pay off my panels, I own them and it's just all an offset to my stuff. So that's not as bad. My client, on the other hand, got locked into a contract for 25 years to pay a certain rate to get the power from her panels on her roof that don't fully cover her electric. So she also has to get electric from the utility company. So she's paying $325 a month because it's based on 22 cents or so per kilowatt hour. And I think the current rate in Rhode Island is somewhere around like maybe 14 cents or 17 cents. So it's well under that 22 cents per kilowatt hour. So that 22 cents per kilowatt hour is supposed to go up 2% per year, 2.9% per year. So these power purchase agreements are such scams. They're like, there's no money out front. You can just no money out of pocket. You just sign this agreement for 25 years and we're going to save you money on your electric because you're going to be locked into this rate. It is such a problem because no one in their right mind is going to sign this stupid contract. And then, so I talked to another client of mine, and she's like, I need you to put this house, I'm going to be selling this house. I want to buy a multifamily. And I looked at it a few years ago. So I said, did you do any improvements to the house since I looked at it a few years ago? She's like, well, I fixed like the roof and I put those things on that save power, that make power. I'm like, solar panels? She's like, yeah. I'm like, why would you put that on a single family rental when you're not paying the electric on the house? She's like, oh, to add value to the house.
That's what they're telling them.
To
I mentioned
add,
before. It's
she
part
sent me,
of those bastards.
oh my gosh, she forwarded me an email yesterday, and it's a guy that's going to do a webinar that talks about how solar panels add value to the house. So it says, want to sell your house, add value with solar panels. And I'm like, I am freaking calling this guy because I want to know how he thinks that it adds value, because everyone that I'm talking to, unless these panels are paid off, you have to deduct the value of the panels from the value of your house, or the rest of the contract from the value of your house, in order to sell the stupid house. So you are decreasing the value of your house by whatever you owe for the solar panels on your house.
Minimum. Yeah, you probably are. You really are.
And
Anyone who plans on, now see, I love mine, so I'm a little biased because I love mine, but mine, for whatever reason, I don't get electric bills. I get them maybe in the middle, like we'll get one in like November for like a couple hundred, and then December, January, because there's no sun. January, February. But then once we get the first like week of sun in March, I don't get bills for the rest of the year, all summer. And I'm running a million things on my property and I get no bills. So I have no complaints about mine. But that is a bullshit slide. And when the guy was doing his sales presentation, I told him right out, Bobby, that's bullshit. Because never once have I done a market analysis, saw solar panels when I pulled up and been like, boom, add 10 grand. No way. I
no,
pull up and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sell this. That's my first
yep,
thought every single
yep.
time.
I am, and then I have a third house now I'm going to look at tomorrow. It's a situation where I might, I'll give them options, but it may be one where I offer to buy it from them. But of course, I'm like, solar. So they sent me over the contract yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is great. The first contract they sent me over said there was basically no charge to put the stuff on, because it said, here's the contract amount, here's the, um, incentive amount or whatever it was, and equal out. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, so you don't have a monthly charge on it? I said, that's awesome. And then they sent me over another contract, and it's another power purchase agreement, again, charging more money than the utility company. But this one was funny because if I'm reading the contract right, it says that you can cancel the contract if the person that's buying the house refuses to assume the contract.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so bad. This other one that I've been dealing with for the last 8 months, trying to figure out what to do, you can't reach anybody. You get some person from like a third world country when you call, and they say the only way to actually reach someone that you might get a response from upper management is to reach their legal department via a written letter, and you can expect a response within like 10 business days. So
That's
they're
crazy.
that one's in bankruptcy. There's nobody in the States here to even talk to that I can get on the phone. This other one seems like I might have better luck. I'm going to plan on calling them today. And I'm going to call that other guy that my client sent me the webinar for, because she's like, I put them on all my houses because it's supposed to add value to my houses. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
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 no.
no,
Because
no,
now,
no.
when you sell that house, if you don't, unless it, I did see a couple good solar contracts. We did go with another client to look at a higher end home in Connecticut, and the monthly amount for the contract was like maybe $100, and the electric bills that they showed, they were like $5, $2, $4. So that was worth it. But I am like, if you even think later on today, I'm just going to do a public service, like really put it out there. Do not get solar until you talk to your attorney, until your attorney reviews the contract, and until you talk to a realtor, so that they can give you an idea of like, 'cause it's not adding value
And
unless the panels are completely paid off and you get free electric, or it works out where you
well,
barely pay for it.
like our house is not, it's not a starter house. Like this is where I'm gonna be. So I don't really care about resale. Like I just don't. I'm never going anywhere. They're gonna bury me. But anybody who's on the mobile, on their way up, and they're like, I'm going to buy this house, but if we have a kid or two, or I get married, or whatever it is that's going to require you to move up in house, don't do it. Just pay the effing electric bill. Because if you're single, or if you're not even, you don't even have an electric bill when you're single. You think you do. I know in your head you do. But like, until you have a family and you got a couple kids that just leave everything on, you have to do laundry 87 times a day. You need a backup fridge in the garage. You need, when you're by yourself and you're like, I'm going to get solar so I can turn my $175 electric bill to zero, you're stupid. Like, if you're going to get solar because you have a $500 electric bill and you're trying to get that bad boy to 100, I get it. I do get it. But these people that are doing it on their 2-bed ranch, and it's like, you're not retiring in this house, brother. Like, what are you doing?
Yep, they're just adding an expense. Like I look at my house, so I don't have a very big house. I think all in all with the finished basement, I think we're at like 22 or 2,500. But we have 100% electric for heat and air conditioning because I have mini splits and
You froze again, and I got to say, you always look
pool.
lovely. Mm-hmm.
I have 2 kids and like and even in the winter I put my wood stove on as much as possible and I keep the heat at like 50 if we're in bed or not home. Like we keep it, not too warm. But
We get cold winters.
yeah, well, my bill in the winter goes up to about $750 a month for like 2 months out of the year. And then the rest of it, I want to say in the summer, I'm at like maybe 200 with the pool, two to 300, but then I get like a rebate check back for like 150 to 170. So it's really not that bad. Now, if I were to sell my home, I would need to pay off my contract. I mean, but my contract's not bad. My contract's like 1% interest, but I have to pay $344 a month just for the solar, plus whatever I have for utilities. But it's still nets, I think, lower than what I had when I was getting oil and electric without the solar. So mine's not terrible.
And a lot of homeowners are playing with funny money right now, because if you got your panels 5 years ago, your houses went up 30% in freaking value. So when you say that you're paying for the solar panels, I have had a couple of clients that are like, I don't care. I got my house for 300. You're telling me it's worth 550. Like, I can pay these panels off at the closing.
Yeah.
But if you're buying a house now, and I don't really see another situation where the market goes up higher than it is right now in the next like 3 to 5 years, I feel like we're kind of going to plateau at prices. At least that's how I'm advising clients. Like, if anything, you know, yeah, in my head, prices are kind of where they are right now. You're buying them, just know you're going to have to pay those bad boys off. So if you're buying with a 3% down loan and you're on some FHA nonsense, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, well, the other thing too, I had clients looking at houses. Now they were approved for up to $340,000. Now they're sending me houses at $340,000. Now they happen to need like $10,000 to $15,000 back for closing costs. And I'm looking, so I was like, we can't look at anything over, 330, 325 or something because you need all these closing costs back. I said, but you also can't send me anything with solar. They sent me stuff. I'm like, nope, it's got solar. Nope, it's got solar. Because now in addition, you take on that solar contract. I said, the amount of money that you can afford now goes down. So now you're not going to end up being pre-approved for this house because of the extra expense for the solar panels.
Right.
So these things are killing me.
Not to mention, they might not be approved at all, because that solar is going to be a debt as if it was a car loan. So they're the income, if they're on the edge of, I don't know what number they use, 45, 47%, 43, I don't know. You can probably find a program that goes higher. But if you're right at the edge with your debt to income, and then you go and add a $30,000 account to your credit, you might get denied outright. And these solar companies are not telling the consumer that. And I'm telling you, there ought to be a class action, is what there ought to be. But
I think there are. Like, I remember when I had a problem with my solar company, I went back because I had everything, this slime ball. Like, he told me that I was going to be getting a check back for $18,000. So I went and bought something for $14,000. I bought additional timeshare stuff for $14,000 on 0% interest for 6 months, expecting that once my solar panels were put in, that I was getting a check back. You know what that check was? It was a tax credit. which means that they take it off my taxes every so many years, like to reduce it. So that was a complete lie. He also
We're
told me that
shit because we're paying anyway. So like a tax credit for a realtor because we're self-employed doesn't really do shit. It's not like a tax credit for someone who's like getting a refund and they're gonna increase their refund. All it's doing is saying that you don't have to pay as much as you were before.
yeah, I mean, it has helped me, but it's still, it was not that check I was expecting. So now when my 6 months came up on that credit card that I put $14,000 on, I didn't have the money to pay it. So I then had to pay interest on it, right? So then he told me that my only bill was going to be that $344 a month. Now I'm like, okay, I was paying this for oil, this for electricity. That's great. I only have to pay this because it was going to cover my electric. It does not. My bills still, like I said, yeah, my bills still go up to over $200 in the winter, and I get like a rebate. So it's not that bad. But I mean, in the summer, in the winter though, my bill is like $750 for at least 1 or 2 months in the winter, and I get my check back is like $6 a month during the
Yeah.
winter because there's no sun. And they didn't tell me I have a big tree in front of my house. They did not tell me that that tree was going to add shade to like my panels or whatever. They gave me the option, do you want to take this tree down or not? And they didn't say, if you don't take this tree down, you have this much less output of
Oh, what
input
they
into the panel.
because they're up
Huh?
past the that like gets sun all day. Is your tree blocking the main sun?
I guess it blocks part of it. However, it is a giant tree that my husband refuses to let me take down. And not to mention, if I take that thing down, it's probably going to be like a $3,000 tree to take down because it is ginormous.
Oh,
It's the one that when we have windy storms or hurricane warnings, that I go in the basement because I'm afraid that it's going to fall on me in my bedroom and I'm going to die.
and your husband wants to keep it up.
Yes.
Okay,
It is a giant tree
all
because
right.
he says it's really big and beautiful and he doesn't want to take it down.
I get it. I get it. I do.
So if you ever hear that I die in my sleep because a tree falls on me, you know you can blame it on my husband.
I watch enough Dateline to know that he's going to get blamed anyway. That's how that goes.
Yeah, it'll be his fault that the hurricane came and he's just leaving it there. But then again, if it comes down on me, it's going to come down on him too.
So we do. That's why he should sleep on the couch like I do with the dog.
I'll be a level down and then the whole house can come down
That's
on me.
safer.
Um,
You know,
but yeah, kill
we
me.
we do this thing right. So I watch sports right. I'm a Yankee fan. They were in the playoffs, but if the Yankees don't have a game that night, I'll be like, okay, you have the TV. Like I'm consuming it at from 7 o'clock last night until bed, and the night before, and the night before, the night before. So
How do you have time to watch TV?
I mean, I do other things because baseball takes 4 hours, and I can't just sit still for 4 hours anyway.
Mhm.
But I have the game on right, and usually around the fourth inning, I'll take a nap. My son will wake me up in the fifth and be like, "Dad, you know you fell asleep, right?" But we'll put on the Lifetime movies when I don't have the TV. She likes to go to the Lifetime movie network. Are you familiar with this?
I used to watch that at my grandma's house like years ago with her when I'd go visit her.
So in the first scene, they'll always introduce a male character to the movie, whether it's
Mhm.
the realtor, the guy that works at the coffee shop. Well, as soon as the first male character is introduced, you know he did it. Like the entire point of every Lifetime movie is that the man is bad.
I thought
He's
they
the
were all romantic movies.
he's the cheater. He's the killer. He's the one that whatever. And I'm like, how can you just watch this shit? But anyway, you made me think of that because you're like, my husband did it. Like, yeah, no shit. Every movie in woman world says the husband did it.
It's not just the movies. I listen to a lot of true crime. It it's definitely a lot of that.
You know what's crazy? And they always live in your kind of neighborhood. Like they don't live in Johnston. They live in the middle of Foster somewhere.
Yeah, there's some creepy things. You know what I wonder, and I've been wanting to look this up because I didn't see any follow-up to this. They did find a dead body in my town on the side of the street
When?
earlier this year. Yeah, I'm sure you heard about this. It was the lady that had been missing from Warwick since I want to say July of the following year or something. And then So they found a dead body in a trash bag on the side of the road in my town. But then they also found like pieces of a body that washed up on shore in like Westerly. Then they also found near my house in Connecticut, there was a body and a piece of luggage and like on one of the streets. So there was all these things and there was like rumors of a serial killer or something around. But then there's just been no follow up. I'm like, I don't remember. You would think like,
Like
hey, we
had
found
rest.
there was nothing. Like, I mean, people were worried about a serial killer and the law enforcement was saying, it's definitely not a serial killer, but nobody ever said this is what happened. Like there was just like, okay, it just disappeared. Like the whole story just disappeared on all of them.
It's wild.
Isn't
You
that
think
crazy?
like something worth following up? Yeah. Mm. Did I ever tell you about the house I showed that where there were horses buried in the backyard?
Yeah, that was our very first episode.
Was it? Yeah, that
But
was
it's
wild.
that long ago. You should probably say it again.
My God, I just don't understand. First of all, I don't understand burying a horse. How the hell do you move a horse? And why would you do that? But anyway,
You have to use a backhoe, actually. So because of where I live, people in my area will have that happen, and other friends of mine, they'll go, you have to use a bat. Like, I had somebody driving down the street and I'm like, where you heading now? Oh, so and so's horse died, and I went and helped them bury it. And it's
oh,
sad.
um, but all the woods that we have, how did people ever get like in Foster? I'm in Smithfield right now, and I'm looking. I'm gonna turn my phone so you can see what I'm looking at. Right? See that? There's
Hmm.
no path in those woods. Those woods go for about 5 miles, maybe 10 miles long, and then another 20 miles deep. There is no neighborhoods, there's no walking path. Anybody who puts something in the middle of those woods, the chances that it'll just never be found.
Did I tell you about the dead body I almost stumbled upon?
Absolutely not.
So I hunt, and there's a place in Barville that I go, and I was young and stupid, and I would go out by myself. So I deer hunt, which means like I go out in the middle of the woods and usually to a hunting area. Now I have my own backyard. I don't get a chance to really go wander further from my backyard because I just don't have time.
You spray yourself with like pee,
With what?
with like urine.
With urine.
I used to have a kid that hunted when I was coaching in the woods, North Smithfield. And when they would go deer hunting, they would spray themselves with urine to like attract the deer.
Okay, yes. So when I was a kid, it was funny because when I was a kid, I'd I'd go hunting with my grandfather, and I remember being a kid and I didn't have like good boots, but I had these black dress shoes, and I remember him pouring dough and heat or like a dairy urine all over my shoes and having me walk in the woods. But my grandfather was a different character. He would sit in his station wagon with the gun in one hand and a Peel's beer in the other hand, and he'd tell me to go walk around and see if I could kick up the deer.
My man.
So that was a different story. But I went out, I must have been an adult because I was driving. But I think I was still living with my dad. So I was probably college age. And there's a place I went in Barville and we'd park. And so I walked down to the area that I had been hunting with my dad. Like usually my dad would have me like sit on a rock and he would like walk around and go to another area or whatever. So I was in there one day and then I left, and then my uncle called us later on. He's like, I just went out for a hunt. He's like, I came back, there's cops everywhere. So where my car was parked, they found a dead body probably like not even 100 feet from my car. Had I walked like through the woods to come back that way, I would have ended up stumbling upon the dead body.
Oh my goodness. You would have
It
been
was
like you would have been the key witness at trial.
Yeah, so this was in like December, I want to say. Um, and this was, I think, a prostitute that had been missing since August. So then I went out probably a couple weeks after that, and I stumbled upon like or it was sometime after that, same area. There was a bag in the woods, like a grocery bag, and it looked like it might have been like meat or something in it. So I felt like an idiot though. I called the cops and I'm like, just in case this is something, because I know this is in the same area that the body was found or whatever. I said, it's probably just discarded, like somebody threw away meat or whatever, but it's just sitting in the middle of the woods. And so like, I just kind of reported it because I felt stupid. But yeah, that stuff does happen though. And it's
It's
scary. I kind of,
also crazy to think that there's like prostitutes in Rhode Island? Because I feel like I've never seen one. And my buddy's a Johnston cop, and I'm like, what do you guys do? Like, there's no crime in Johnston. Like, what do you do all day besides busting teenagers with weed? Like, what else is there to do? And he's like, oh, on the weekends, he's like, the prostitution arrests you would never know. But all those motels up like Route 6 going towards your way, all those motels on the side of the road, he's like, all they're doing in there is like there's hookers and crack. He's like, if like that's where our calls come from. And I'm like, in Rhode Island? Like
Mhm.
I'm not seeing them. Like
So
I feel like I'm out there.
growing up in Woonsocket, we definitely had them on the street corner.
No,
Now, so there's a guy that my dad's best friend dated, who's actually she not only dated him, she ended up having a son with his brother. So
nice.
like, but the family, right? This brother, the sister was a hooker, and she murdered another prostitute. They fought over a corner, like a street corner.
No
And
shit.
so he helped her dump the body, and I think they both ended up in prison.
No way.
It's so freaking crazy.
This is during your lifetime?
This is my lifetime. And then there was a serial killer in Woonsocket, where I grew up. So on the street my aunt used to live on, actually one of my clients has a house on the same street. There was a serial killer that they found. He was killing prostitutes, and he was flushing their body parts down the toilet. And I think it was like a clogged drain that ended up giving him away. That's how they ended up finding him.
So my father's been in the wastewater business for probably 30 years. So now he's like a superintendent. So I know he's not like on the ground anymore. He's like in the office world. But when he was starting, he was like right there. And he said, they found cash, they found drugs. He never told me that he found body parts before. Because what happens is the wastewater will go through certain layers, because like most of it is just like clean water. Like think about when you take a shower, all the water that's going down the drain it's not drinkable, but it's not dirty
Yeah.
either. But so like, but some of the solids, like, you'd be surprised. People throw chicken bones down especially if you don't have a septic. These people don't give a shit. They'll throw like chicken wings. They'll just dump it down the drain. Anything that'll go will go. I wonder if he ever found a body part. I gotta ask him. I'll report back. I will report.
It's so crazy, but yeah, these are freaking crazy, scary, yucky things. But I don't
Now,
know, I'm very
when you
cautious
were
now.
showing that property to your client on the street with the serial killer, you didn't happen to disclose that, did you?
No, but it reminded me, I was like, oh my God, I remember the guy that was caught over here that, I'm sure none of the people that are in that area now know anything about it. Cause I was like a kid, I want to say, or a teenager when that happened. But yeah, there's been lots of creepy things and weird stuff found. And so now I don't tend to go in the woods by myself anymore. I've learned.
Even with a shotgun, I don't think that women should generally be in the woods by themselves. I don't know. Seems kind of.
I don't think so. Here's the thing is, now since I've been so involved in scouts, I don't believe anybody should do anything by themselves. You need to always have a partner that knows where you are at all times. Like somebody like buddy system. It's just buddy system everywhere.
So I
You
tell you,
know?
like going into I have no sense of direction at all. Like I used to have a job as a delivery driver. No one knows this in the world except you. I don't even think Pam knows this. I used to have a job. I used to deliver rubber to jewelry factories, right? Why jewelry factories need rubber, I can tell you another day. But I used
I
to
know why they need them.
I used to deliver rubber, and they used to have to draw because I had a map book, but I couldn't read the map. So they would like on the back of my clipboard one day they wrote "Lost Boy," and I never noticed it. And then they just started me calling one of the Lost Boys. I thought they were talking about Peter Pan. And these guys apparently had like an inside joke about me for like whatever the whole summer I worked there, because I would go from like Warwick to Providence and come back in 2.5 hours, and I'd call them and be like, I don't know, I'm like near the beach, and they'd be like, what are you doing? Like I have no sense of direction at all.
That's funny. I have a very good sense of direction. It's funny though, because like my brother would always get lost coming to my house. And I'm like, dude, you live like 10 minutes from me. My dad, I think, got lost a couple of times. I'm like, it's not that hard to get to my house. But usually if I go one place once, I have a really good sense of direction. And then even when I'm in the woods, finding my way back out. But,
I
stumbling
got
across it.
I coached with this kid, Rich, and he's from New York. And when I tell you, he came to my house one time, and then 8 years later, he was in Rhode Island, and he showed up to my house. And I'm like, how do you even remember? Like, he's from New York, stays in New York, came to Rhode Island, barely, came to my house one time, and that son of a bitch, 8 years later, pulled up and rang the doorbell. And I'm like, what are you doing? How did you know how to get here? He's like, I was here before.
Yeah.
And you remember?
Sometimes it's easy. So you know what? We're gonna have to wrap up because I know we've got meetings we've got to run to.
10 o'clock.
And we need to promise people we'll be a little bit more focused next time. I feel like we've been running around so much like crazy that we're blurting out all sorts of random stuff. Hopefully it's interesting for some people, but
I'm sure people find it interesting.
I think so. But we got to get some more guests on here and stuff.
Yeah,
but just so everyone knows who we are the Legit Real Estate Podcast. We talk about the real stuff that happens in real estate and a lot of stuff that happens in our own lives too, in case you want to hear some, our silly stuff. But you can find us at where are we? You can email us at thelegitrealestatepodcast@gmail.com. We are on YouTube and Spotify and Amazon Music. And I've been told that I screwed up something in our Apple podcast stuff is not working. So I have to fix that. But we try to be everywhere that you can listen to podcasts and watch us on YouTube if you feel like doing that. And then if you have stories and you want to share them with us,
2026 is going to be a big year for the program. So share it now because 2026 will be a big year for the Legit Real Estate Podcast.
Yep, we are going to get more people on here. And now we've got a legitimate account that allows us to record more than 45 minutes. So we can get some better content in here. So I hope everyone has a great day.
Said next week I'm going to do the whole show from the highway.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then we'll get some real listeners to watch because you'll crash and then we'll get a lot of views. Viral. It will go viral.
Oh shit, Holly. Well, you have a good day. I'll talk to you next week.
You too. Bye.
Bye.